Good day, YouTube, back with another video here. And as you can see, this is a 2025 Chevy Traverse, which I purchased from Copart, which had a lot of front end damage. I'm near the completion of this project here, and I'm still waiting for some parts to come in. But before I move on here, I thought it would be a good idea just to give this emblem a nice color match with the paint job of the car. And I just wanted to take you along for the ride just to see how I'm doing that. Now, as you can see, I completely cleaned off this part here with some glass cleaner. That way all of the debris, the other contaminants, maybe from the outside surface that was stuck on this part, would not be on there while I'm doing the painting, which would probably affect the adhesion process. Now, I'm also spraying some Bulldog adhesion promoter. This will help with the paint here so that it sticks and not peel later on. And also, when it comes to painting, I like to add a little bit of a epoxy primer. It kind of reveals the surface of how the outcome of the base coat will come out before I move on to that part. So it's just an extra step that I like to do before I move on to one, which will not cause me to backtrack if something was to go wrong. So I actually could look at the part before I paint it and know that when I do add that paint, how the paint will actually lay out. Now, this is the silver paint that I'm adding here to the part. I'm walking around all four corners of the part because it's a 3D molded part. So just wanted to make sure that I do get full coverage so that there's not any missing areas here. And as you can see, after 2 coats of this base coat here, it actually came out fine. I'm happy with it. And moving on to the next step here, as you can see, this is the clear coat that I'm applying to the part. And this is after 20 minutes of letting the base coat flash off here. I've decided to give it 2 coats of clear, and then I'll let that sit just to see how it actually come out after the clear coat is done. Because the clear coat, depending on some parts, it actually has a great tendency of shrinking. And because of the shape of this part here, while applying the clear, it actually looks good, but after letting it flash off, it actually shrunk. Now, before I move on to the explanation, this is the naked gun that I use here to clean all of my guns here, spray guns. And I add a little bit of acetone because sometimes that paint tends to stick to the parts very well, and I find the acetone breaks it down a little better so I could have much cleaner parts. Now, after that second coat of clear, it did shrink like I said, but rather than to have to spray another layer, I've decided to just drop a couple of drops over the part here, and then I let that sit overnight until it was completely covered. And it was a much thicker layer, and I'd say it's actually a good layer in which I actually pictured and wanted to achieve. I wanted a thick, clear surface which matched the chrome leveling of the Chevy emblem here. Now, this is the 1, 2, 3 process that I normally use when I do get a lot of dust spots, a lot of orange peel over my parts. I'll start off with 1,000 grit, and I have a soft pad actually on the sander here so that when I do apply a little bit of pressure, it does not dig in deeper than I would want into the part here. So I'll sand it down with 1,000 just to remove all of the dust spots and also areas in which orange peel might have formed. And then I'll move on to a 2,000 just to smooth out that 1,000 scratched surface. And then a 3,000, which actually gives me a much smoother surface, and it makes easier buffing when it comes to buffing out the surface of the clear coat here. And then I did add a little bit of water to reduce the amount of scratches that tend to happen sometimes when working with the sanding pads here. All of my passes were just slight passes. I was not trying to apply pressure to actually damage the part, to have to do a reversal here to correct certain things that I didn't really want to. Now this is the 3D compound. It's an all-in-one. It actually smoothens out the surface and it helps to reduce some of these scratches that might have been applied from the 3000, but it also buffs it and gives it a nice surface polish here to get a complete outcome of the shine. And as you can see, I gave it a second pass just to assure that everything was fully covered and that the shine was actually coming out as I wanted it to. And as you will see here, YouTube, I did get a good shine from the part here. Around some of these surfaces, there was a little bit of bubbling around the edges, which were not very apparent to the eye unless you were actually focusing in on it. But this is it. I'll remove the tape here and I'll allow you to get a better look of how the clear coat actually settled on the part here. Try to be real careful when it comes to removing tape. You don't want to do it aggressively because sometimes you can affect the surface of the clear coat adhesion areas. Now as you can see, YouTube, it's actually nice, smooth, and shiny, in which I wanted to actually match the shine of the plastic corners here and the paint to match the color of the car, which is just a little different, stands out a little different from everything else that's out there. I kind of like to add my taste when it comes to things. And this is what we have here, YouTube. It's clean, it's shiny, and this is my process and how I actually did everything here. And I just wanted to demonstrate on how I did that. But as you can see, the outcome of the part here is very well, and I'm happy. Now moving on here, I just wanted to throw this in because I started this channel to actually document how I'm proceeding with the 66 Impala. These are the front fender side emblems that I powder coated a couple of months back. I don't know if I have a video on that, but I've been having some trouble trying to actually imprint the red, white, and blue portion of the emblem here. So I'm doing something a little different also. I actually cleaned out the center areas, and rather than to have to paint the inner portions of the cavity of the emblems here, I've decided to actually cut out some vinyl here to match the color. But then again, this is material that is much more durable. It won't fade. And after doing this, I'm actually happy with the outcome with applying these vinyl strip pieces into the cavities of the emblem here. So it was pretty much just cutting out the shapes, but I actually wanted to be real precise so that there were no spaces in between the cavities. So it took me a couple of cuts before I actually got it right. So before even cutting the vinyl, I actually cut out a piece of cardboard to get the shapes exactly to how I wanted it. And then I just drew it out, and then I cut out my pieces that I needed. And with some adhesion glue here, I just glued on the parts, and everything just fit perfectly, as you will see towards the ending of the video here. And sometimes it's just the small details in which we invest our time, which make for a better appearance and outcome of the things that we're doing here. Now as you can see, these are the cutouts. This is the JB Quick that I'm using so that this part actually sticks and never comes off, because it's a part that would be outside and affected just by the outside environment like rain. So I wanted to use something that would not affect it as much. Now I'm just mixing a little here, and I'll just dab a little into the cavities here, and then I'll just apply those cut pieces that I've cut out here. Also, by doing it this way, I believe it will stand the test of time. These parts are much more durable, and when it comes to paint, it tends to fade due to the environment that it's in, sun, rain, certain things just affects it. And by applying these vinyl pieces here, they're very durable, scratch resistant it seems, and I believe it will go a longer way. It will not fade, which is another good reason why I chose to do it this way. And it actually came out real nice. And as you can see here, YouTube, it's a small detail added to the project here, but very durable and very nice compared to the other options.